Hello, this is the presentation by Scott Farmer and Sherine St. Omer. We are going to present on the impact of the combination of learning by design and learning by teaching on learning achievement, self-efficacy, and critical thinking. So in this presentation, we're going to be covering our introduction, the literature review, multimedia design and process, the experimental process, and of course we'll have some references at the end. So to start out with the rationale for this study is, as we know, education is continuing to change, and it is inevitable that the roles of both students and teachers in the teaching and learning process need to change. There's a quote here from Sun et al. From 2019 that says, "In the era of information technology, teaching strategies are the key factors of integrating information technology into innovative teaching." So many studies have found that the use of ebooks in the classroom is beneficial to both students and teachers. Building from these studies, other studies have examined the impact of ebook development by students on their own learning achievement, as well as other factors such as interest and motivation. A study by Huang and others in 2016 says that they used an approach of integrating the guided peer feedback strategy into ebook design for younger students and found better learning achievement and innovative thinking and decreased the cognitive load as compared to students involved in a conventional ebook development approach. And as we continue to make changes in education to meet the needs of the 21st century learner, this study seeks to add to the body of research available concerning ebooks and ebook development by students in the class by determining whether ebook development by students, so in other words, learning by design, combined with students using these ebooks constructed to teach their peers, which is of course learning by teaching, whether this would have an impact on their learning achievement as well as self-efficacy and critical thinking.
In the literature review section of our presentation, I will explore some of the main ideas related to. The first concept is learning by teaching. Learning by teaching is an integral part of many educational practices, such as small group discussion, reciprocal teaching, cooperative learning, and most importantly, peer tutoring. It has been found that teaching others is a powerful way to learn. Both Ziongs and Chi, cited in Duran 2016, believe that learning by teaching can be very advantageous for the tutor. They believe that as one explains things to others, it gives them an opportunity to reflect on how their mind works. It also gives them an opportunity to enhance their own knowledge. Learning by teaching promotes positive interdependence, individual participation, and can enrich the quality of education. It can also contribute to the move from teacher-centered to student-centered learning. The second concept in the literature review section of this presentation is learning by design. Colombo and Landoni, 2013, believe that due to the known differences in the ways adults and children think and learn, the idea of students designing materials to be used for their learning makes sense and can be advantageous to students. In a study aimed at exploring children's interaction with electronic books and developing ebooks, these researchers found positive effects on students' engagement and empowerment, and they advocated for more research to be done where students design their own technologies such as ebooks. Learning by design is derived from constructivism, where students are actively involved in gathering information and designing their learning output. Huang et al. 2018 purports, and I quote, "Students will construct their own knowledge after integrating a variety of information instead of always listening to explanations and copying." The final concept in the literature review section of this presentation is ebooks and learning. Although Oxford Dictionary of English defines ebooks as merely an electronic version of printed books, they are so much more than this. They have the capability of enhancing the teaching and learning process. Huang and other researchers have found that the distinguishing feature is the multimedia and interactive features that ebooks use to enhance teaching and learning process. Swan et al. 2019 in a paper aimed to complement previous reviews on the use of ebooks in learning found that their use for learning has positive effects for students. Therefore, our study seeks to answer 4 research questions. The first research question: does integrating ebook development and learning by teaching improve students' learning achievement? Number 2, does integrating ebook development and learning by teaching improve students' self-efficacy? Number 3, does integrating ebook development and learning by teaching improve students' critical thinking? And lastly, does integrating ebook development and learning by teaching improve students' long-term retention? In this third section of our presentation, I will walk you through our multimedia design and process. Firstly, I will explain the learning activity. In the first part of the learning activity, in the computer class, students will learn about the ebook design software Kotobi, and in groups, students will create sections of an ebook about the present perfect tense using this software. The different sections that the students will create are reading and comprehension, writing, speaking, and listening. In the second part of the learning activity, in the English language class, students will learn about the structure of the present perfect tense and understand several situations in which its use is necessary. Students will also be able to distinguish between the present perfect tense and the simple past tense, as well as use the present perfect tense in written as well as spoken language. Here is a diagrammation of our multimedia design process. First, an introduction to the software. Students are introduced to the ebook design software Kotobi, which from our experience is easy to learn and create ebooks, and there's very little time needed to learn the use of the software. The second stage, exploration or research. To assist groups of students with their creation of the ebook, we will provide websites and content that they can go to help create their sections. Brainstorming is the third part. Groups will be encouraged to jot down the objectives for the section that they're working on and decide on what content and what interactive features they would want to use for their section of the ebook. The design. Students will discuss the outline of the design or the layout of the section, what goes where in their section of the ebook. Lastly, students will create their section of the ebook, which the teacher will combine into one ebook.
Okay, so now let's look at the ebook developed for this study, or the model of what the students will be doing. So we have used the software called Kotobi. And this is a free software, although there are features that you can pay for if you upgrade. So this is the title page talking about life experiences. And so this book teaches about using the present perfect tense to talk about life experiences in English. So at the beginning, you can see with the hamburger menu, we have a table of contents, so you can easily navigate around the book. You can see that we've divided this into an explanation of what is present perfect tense, some exercises to help identify the grammar structure, some practice exercises, and then practice in the four main areas: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. So there's an introductory video, which is a flipped video that we created, um, Sherine and I, and so we explain what this tense is and how it can be used. So this would be something that the students can watch as an introduction, and they can refer back to it as many times as they need. Then we felt it would be good to have some activities where the students learn to recognize what this is and to help differentiate between the past simple tense versus this new target tense, which is present perfect. So there are some questions here, and just to quickly select some, you can see that you can submit answers and get immediate feedback. So it will show you even which questions you got right and what the correct answer is on any questions you got wrong. You can clear that and do it as many times as you'd like. So there's some exercises such as that. Some more practice exercises here. So there are 3 sets. These take you to external sites. A lot of these resources are available online already, and so the students can go and do those activities outside of the ebook. And now we get to the main 4 key areas of practice. First, we look at listening. So here we have an embedded video where the students will watch the video and then answer some questions. And here are the questions. The second exercise is a song by U2, famous song called I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. And the students can listen to the song and write down as many examples of this tense as they hear in the song. They can click to an external link where they will see the lyrics and see the examples highlighted for them there. And the third exercise is another video where the students will watch it and then have some comprehension questions at the end. And so for each skill area, it's going to be similar, always with 3 exercises for the students to practice. So here's some reading, again, something that will take them external, a job candidate. So this is a really great example of a conversation to talk about your work experience and life experience. And then something about a band, and this one embedded right into the ebook with the questions there. In terms of writing, the students can reorganize some sentences that are scrambled, and here is a similar sort of activity where they have to correct the sentences. And the third activity is to talk about the bucket list. And in this, the students would be quite familiar with using Google Docs, and there would be a classroom folder where the students can then write with some prompts that we have here to help them. And of course, it's always important to practice speaking as well, even without the teacher by your side. So the first exercise is to look at these photos and to create a sentence, and then we have embedded audio where the students can hear what an example would be, or maybe the best example. He has been to the Eiffel Tower. Okay, and so then there are several of those. And Now here, students can click to see some pictures about recent experiences, and then that takes them to an external page where they see these pictures, and from there they can again get a hint to check if their answers are the ideal answer. And lastly, the third one is to talk about your own experiences. We wanted to give them an opportunity to do this individually or to find a partner to speak in a dialogue. So speak for 30 to 60 seconds, and then again to utilize Google Drive to combine all these materials and to turn them into the teacher with some example here to help them get started. So it's quite comprehensive all throughout this book, a lot of different practice activities, and the students can use this in part of the study to teach each other, and then sort of a final congratulations for completing the book. So this is a very brief overview of the ebook that we created and the kind of thing that we would be asking the students. Okay, and now let's move on to look at the experimental method. So first, addressing our participants, we're looking at 44 high school students in Taiwan in the 7th grade. The participants will be divided into two groups, an experimental group and a control group. Both groups would have similar English and computer teachers, and the participants will remain in that same group throughout the course of the study. In terms of the variables in the study, this is a quasi-experimental design. Students will be divided into two groups, as I mentioned, an experimental group in which students learn with the combination of an ebook development and learning by teaching, or peer tutoring in other words. And then in the control group, the students would be learning with a conventional ebook development approach that was more teacher-led. So those are the independent variables. In terms of dependent variables, we have learning achievement, self-efficacy, and critical thinking. Now here on this slide, we see a flowchart of the process of the study. It's divided into two phases. So we see these phase 1 here on this slide. We can see there's class A and class B, where class A is the control group. In this phase of the study, both classes undertake the same activities, which is constructing an ebook and evaluating it. This is a 6-week process with a 40-minute class per week. After this, the students take a learning achievement pretest, as well as complete a questionnaire on self-efficacy, critical thinking. Now looking at peer assessment and this aspect of the design of the study, we drew from Huang, Tu, and Wong from 2018 and adapted the rubrics that they created. Some changes were made. The original was 0 to 2. We felt that it was more meaningful and easier to understand if the scale started at 1, so we've adjusted it to 1 to 3. And the ebook is going to be assessed based on 2 areas, content and design. And now here we see the rubrics that the students will use for their peer assessment. We see first the content section. There are 3 areas of assessment: structure, accuracy, and completeness. And if we look at the third column to see the most well-developed description of what the students might achieve, under structure, we see that the ebook is well structured and the content is coherent and comprehensible. Under accuracy, the content of the ebook would all be correct. And completeness, all important points and concepts are presented in the ebook. And now for the second part of the rubric, this is design. Again, there are 3 subsections for assessment. appearance, innovation, and interaction. And again, just looking at the most well-developed, the best sort of example would be where under appearance, the layout of the ebook is reader-friendly. Under innovation, the content of the ebook is creative and includes more than 3 innovative ideas. And under interaction, all of the learning content in the ebook is presented in an interactive way. So this, for example, might include pop quizzes, a word matching activity, or some interaction that includes dragging and dropping. So these features would improve learning motivation.
In this study, we made use of 3 main measurement instruments. The first one being pre and post achievement tests. These tests were created by expert English language teachers who have taught for more than 20 years. Both the pre and post tests have very similar structure, consisting of multiple choice questions, 10 multiple choice questions, and short answer questions. The only difference between these two tests is that the post test includes a writing activity where students are provided with a picture to write a paragraph using the present perfect tense. Here are some sample questions from the pre and post achievement test. An example of the multiple choice question: the children dash the lost puppy, where students have to select the answer that is the present perfect tense, as well as a short answer question where students have to use the words supplied to write a sentence using the present perfect tense. The second measurement instrument is a critical thinking skills questionnaire adopted from Sarigor's 2012, consisting of 21 questions. The survey is a 5-point Likert scale with the options of never, rarely, sometimes, often, and always. It has a crunchback alpha of 0.87 and it will be translated into Chinese for Taiwanese students. Here are 4 sample questions from the critical thinking skills questionnaire. Question number 2: when I encounter a matter, I realize whether the subject is from first hand or second hand. Question number 9: I can pass an accurate judgment on the matter and I can come to a conclusion with my thoughts. Question number 13: I can explain my thoughts regarding a matter convincingly and logically. And the last question, question number 21, when I encounter a matter or an action, my thoughts do not misguide me. The third measurement instrument is a student self-efficacy scale based on Nurbuffum and Schmidt's 2013. The scale is answered on a 4-point response format: not at all true, hardly true, moderately true, exactly true. It has a Cronbach alpha of 0.84 and it will also be translated into Chinese to cater to our Taiwanese students. This self-efficacy scale consists of 10 questions. For example, question number 1, I am convinced that I am able to successfully learn all relevant content even if it is difficult. Question number 6, I am confident in my ability to learn even if I am having a bad day. Question number 10, I know that I can finish the assigned projects and earn the grade I want even when others think I can't. Lastly, we have provided you with a list of our references. We have come to the end of our presentation. Scott and I would like to thank you very much for listening.